Hey guys, it's Keen here, and we are back with episode 4 of Custom Country Class. And this week it's going to be the British Armed Forces. So, getting straight into it, we're going to start off with the L85A2 assault rifle. And the setup I use for this is the ACOG 4x scope, no primary, and a heavy barrel. Now, the reason I use the ACOG scope is because it's pretty similar to the scope the British Army actually use, which unfortunately isn't in this game, but we're just going to use the one that's closest to it. And then obviously the heavy barrel, keep more accurate, full auto fire at mid to long range. And then the reason I don't go with the grip is because there was a patch recently, I can't remember when, but it basically affected how the grip affects certain weapons in the game, and the N85 is included. And it's really complicated to explain, but trust me, you don't want to put on a grip on this weapon with the heavy barrel. So that's it. Let's get into the next weapon. Okay, so getting into the next weapon, we have the L86A2 light support weapon. Now, the setup I use on this weapon is the M145 3.4 zoom scope, the bipod, and the flash suppressor. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, they do use the SUS-AT scope, which is the real life scope, on the L86 as well. And the reason I didn't go with the ACOG on this is because I really don't like going with ACOGs on my light machine gun weapons. So I'm just going to have to put up with it, I suppose. But obviously, your choice, you can do whatever you want. You can put on the ACOG if you want, holographic, it doesn't really matter. Then I decided to go with the bipod on this weapon. Now this is very important because if you put on a grip on this weapon, you're wasting an attachment because the accuracy on this weapon is already like, it's too accurate to be perfectly honest, and you don't need it. And with this you can still get kind of long range kills. And then we have the flash suppressor, obviously, to hide the flash. So that's it. Let's get into the next weapon. Okay, so the next weapon we have is the N96 sniper rifle, and the way we're going to kind of set this up is for long and medium range. And what I went with is the rifle scope, straight pull bolt, and no secondary. And obviously, depending on the environment you're in, what map you're in, you can just decide your own camo. So the reason I don't use a secondary is because, for me, in my opinion, I don't have any use for them. You know, suppressor, you're at a long range, so it's not like they're going to see you on the map anyway. So it's not, you don't need to hide your flash, and it increases the bullet drop, and I really don't like that because it just means more, you know, adjusting, trying to get used to it, getting your dope, you know, dialing in where your rounds land, and then trying to compensate for it. I mean, it's hard enough switching between a rifle scope, you know, which is a 8x zoom, and then the ballistic scope, which is 12x zoom, and then having to factor in the suppressor and the bullet drop from that. It's just, you know, it gets too complicated, and you just don't need it. And the reason why you don't use the laser sight is obviously because it's a sniper rifle. You know, it's meant to be used at long range. There's like, and the hip, it just increases the hip fire, which is completely pointless, you know, when you're using a sniper rifle. And then obviously more or less the same reason with the flashlight, you know, you don't need it. So that's it for this LN96 setup. Let's move into the next one. Okay, so getting into the next and final setup is the N96, but this time this is more kind of aimed towards long range. That's why you have the ballistic scope, bipod, and once again no secondary. Now the bipod and the ballistic scope obviously makes sense for long range, but the reason this was inspired is because of, well, you know, armored kills coming out, you're going to be long range engagements, and you're going to be forced into situations where you're going to have to kill enemies at long range. So it's worth getting practice now with it, and then we should be okay for an armored kill. So that's it, guys. Please be sure to like and favorite the video. It really helps me out and gives me motivation to make more videos. And if you haven't done so already, I'd recommend going back and watching my video Battlefield 3 the movie. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching again. It really means a lot.